right. So welcome everyone here to our masterclass, 4 steps to save your marriage without getting your heart hurt anymore. My name is Heather Choate. I am the co-owner and co-founder of High Thrive Coaching. I am grateful and honored to be here with you guys today. And it is my intention that you not just get great information, but you get some transformation. And what I'm going to share with you is what has helped 12,000, actually more than 12,000, more closer to 15,000 right now, of our students and clients be able to turn their marriage around. And so this is radically different from anything else you've probably tried. In fact, if you feel like I've been doing all of these things, I'm going to show you why those are most likely the wrong things, which is why you're maybe feeling exhausted, maybe feeling burnt out, maybe feeling a bit hopeless that anything could possibly be any different. But I'm going to show you how it can when you do it the right way. So I want to make sure that this is a dialogue, not just a monologue. And the best way that we can do that is through the chat. So make sure you use the chat. You weigh in on some of the polls and exercises I'm going to give you, because the more you can let me know what's going on with you and in your marriage, the deeper I can go into that with you today to make sure that you get those solutions. Does that sound good? Sound fair? All right. Now, I mentioned that I am the co-owner and co-founder here of High Thrive Coaching, and we've helped over 15,000 couples now to save their marriage. I personally have been married 18 years with my husband, Ben, and we have 8 children together. And there is times in my marriage when I felt like we hit rock bottom and I wasn't sure if anything was going to work. And everything I tried just seemed to backfire or be completely ineffective. And sometimes it tended to make things even worse. That was until I discovered this exact process I'm going to share with you guys today. So right off the bat, I want us to do an exercise together. I'm going to launch a poll, and I want to know, what is your situation? What is your primary problem here? Would you be couple A, where your spouse is talking to a lawyer? Maybe they're threatening divorce. Maybe you're separated. They say they want out of the relationship. They're filed for divorce. You want to know what to do to get them to cancel that divorce, to stop talking about divorce, to end the separation and get back with you forever. Are you couple B, no trust affairs? Maybe there are just lots of trust issues between you. Maybe you can talk, but your spouse doesn't believe what you say or do. Maybe they've had an affair. Maybe you've had an affair, maybe multiple affairs, or there are just other trust issues between you right now. Trust has been broken. And then couple C would be no communication. Maybe you can't talk without arguing. Your spouse doesn't believe what you say, and your spouse doesn't open up, and they're avoiding deeper communication. So communication is really limited. Maybe it's just surface level. So weigh in over in the chat and let me know. I see a lot of answers coming in. Thank you guys. Like I said, the more you participate here and let me know what's going on for you, the deeper I can go into giving you solutions for that. Awesome. So I'm going to share results here. Looks like we have about 53% has said divorce filed or talks of divorce, 11% no trust affairs, and 37% no communication. Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that and letting me know. All right, now let's do an exercise together. And I want you to ask yourself these 2 questions and put your answer over in the chat. My team member Diego and I are the only ones that can see your answers. You cannot see each other's answers. We do that for privacy's sake. And I want to know, though, where you are at with this. So let me know in the chat. First, where do I want my marriage to be 3 months from now? So where would you really love for your marriage to be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now? And get detailed about that. For some of you, that might look like, I want them to come home. I want them to stop talking about divorce. I want them to be willing to work on the relationship with me. I want them to leave the affair partner. I want us to be able to talk about things again. I want us to feel like we respect each other, that we're understanding each other. What would that look like? And 2, how will it feel to have that, to get to that result, to have your spouse in love with you again, wanting to work on the relationship, wanting to be with you. In fact, they're going to be the one that's actually chasing after you when you follow our method. And I'll show you how a little bit later on. All right, I'm going to the chat here, seeing some answers coming in. I want us to be back living together, leave the affair partner and stop talking to her, and get the feelings back for me. Since my wife divorced me, I want reconciliation and it would be beyond words, happiness. So go a little deeper into that. What does reconciliation look like? Meaning, like, what would be the expression on her face when you greet each other at the end of the day? What kind of things would you talk about? What kind of dates would you go on? What kind of, trips might you plan together? How would you talk about things? And if you have children, like, how would that look like? How would you feel as you go to bed at night? What would be the feeling in your mind and your heart as you wake up? How would you be able to focus at work, right? Would you feel more present with your family and in your life? Get detailed about how that would feel. To be back communicating and showing love and respect to each other. I want to have my marriage being repaired, working on our problems and faults. I want this badly. I want to be communicating better, going on dates, being happy, and a family again. Healing slowly back to where we were years ago. We were years ago. For her to stop looking for attention from other people and come back to me for all those things. I'm in a very different situation. We are completely divorced, and she just left the man that she was seeing during our separation. We started to reconnect and decided to move back in. Things have been going well, but she still has feelings for the other person. And our reconnection started to fade because we love each other, but the full emotional and sexual connection hasn't sparked. All right, thanks for sharing that. Willing to work on our relationship at a completely different level, whether we are together or not. It will feel like I'm fulfilled in how I'm being with her, and she would have similar experiences. Hello, I want to trust him and be the only one he wants. Divorce dropped, stop going out on, or start going out on dates, my apologies. Spends more times on just us and our one-on-one time. I'd feel relieved, happy to have my wife back, love and communication. To have in love with me again would be great for my mental health, our kids, our emotions, to be able to communicate, forgive all of the mistakes we both made, missing our family, for her to be able to open up without bottling things up until she explodes on me, to be able to effectively communicate emotions without being afraid of making her angry. I hope it would feel as a full heart again and being together for each other mentally and emotionally. Awesome. So many of these coming in. I'm going to have to kind of skim through just for sake of time, but I love this. Yeah. For her to open up without, effectively communicate, break off with the other person, come back home. It would feel complete to know he loves me. It would be great. Loving each other and the arguments to stop, making us a whole family again. Beautiful. You guys are awesome. You're rocking this. So thank you guys for sharing that. What you just did is actually really, really powerful. In fact, because we've worked with so many thousands of clients, we've really seen that those that succeed are those that know where they want to go. You would be amazed at how many people do not know where they want to go in their lives. And they kind of are just like letting life happen to them, right? And I get it. When your marriage is struggling, you go into so much fear and there's so much pain, it's overwhelming. And sometimes you just feel like you're trying to keep your head above water. So if you're really struggling with this exercise, I want you to take some time to take a 30,000 foot view of this situation and decide where you want to go. Because when you make that kind of decision of this is where I want to go, you're no longer just a victim to life. You're no longer just trying to keep your head above water, but you actually have a destination. And that choice, when you make that level of a decision of this is where I want to go, and I'm committed to getting there, then the way or the how to get there will manifest itself. It will show up for you. You just have to be willing to take the action and the steps to get there. So hold fast to this destination that you want to get to. You decide where you want to go, and we will help you get there. So our big discovery here at High Thrive Coaching, like I mentioned at the beginning, we've been working with thousands and thousands of couples, and we found that there's one thing that's a big reason why marriages are ending in divorce. I say it's something insane because no one else is even talking about this. And I'm going to share it with you here in just a bit. Before I go into that though, I'm going to go over our 4 steps to save your marriage. Okay. You guys ready for the steps? Let's dig right into it. Okay. The first one is the pause button. This is where your spouse stops pulling away from you more. They stop moving closer towards separation or divorce. Step 2 is where your spouse, getting tongue-tied, your spouse starts to take some steps towards you. They're the one inviting you on dates. They're the one initiating conversations. They're the one wanting to spend time with you. Okay. Step 3 is where we deepen the connection between you and we resolve the root issues that led up to this happening in the first place so they don't come back again. And we create a new, healthier, and stronger relationship, a more functional relationship than before. And then step 4 is commitment. And that is where they give you their heart fully again. And you both feel safe and secure, happy and fulfilled about the relationship and are ready to move forward. Sound good? I'm going to go deeper into each one of these. This is the overview. But real quick, before I dive into step 1 here, you guys are really smart. Which one of these or a couple of these do you think most people push for when their spouse says they want out? When they say, I want a divorce, I'm in love with someone else, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, I'm not happy here, I'll never be happy here, you won't change. What do most people push for of any of these? Which one is it? Pause button, step towards you, connection, or commitment? Which one have you pushed for? Which one are the one that you thought you should go for first? Yep, I see it in the comments here. Connection, commitment. Awesome. Thank you guys for weighing in. That's right. Most people push for connection or commitment too soon, and it backfires. And I'll show you why here in a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Connection, everything except pause. Yeah. Connection, in between connection, commitment. Yeah, awesome. So what we help our clients do is hit the pause button first. This is where your spouse will stop pulling away from you more, or they will stop moving closer towards divorce or another person. How do you know if your spouse has hit the pause button? Here's some signs that we look for. First, they are no longer actively pulling away more. Second, they stop going forward with divorce or separation. They may even say, let's wait, let's extend the time out here, let's take the papers off the table right now, right? And third, they may just stop talking about leaving. So these are the signs that we look for to know if your spouse has hit the pause button. What's really going on here is that they're considering the possibility of staying and being happy with you. But note, they are not decided yet. They're not decided yet. And if you push for them to make a decision, they will lean away from you. Okay, I'll explain why again here in a little bit. So let me know in the chat, has your spouse hit the pause button yet? Put it in the comments if you think your spouse has or has not hit the pause button yet. Okay, yes, has not, still running away, on and off, not yet fully, not yet, debating it slightly, has not, yes. Okay, a little bit of a mix of answers there. Yes, both of us, okay. Awesome, thanks for sharing. No, she hasn't. She talked to me about leaving me, only to her online boyfriend. Yes, divorce is on hold, but still communicating with other person. Okay, so if you have not hit the pause button yet, or it's a little bit of both, and you're not sure if they fully have, don't worry, you're okay. That's normal. It just simply means that you've missed something along the way, okay? No, I'm seeing, don't know, no communication, no talk of divorce, but also not together on anything, okay? So most people miss this too, which is why they don't save their marriage from divorce. The good news is that you can learn how to with our proven process. And I can't say this enough, but I'm going to say it again, that one of the biggest mistakes most people make is pushing for their spouse's full commitment too soon, or trying to get the connection back with their spouse too soon, putting too much pressure on the relationship, okay? And we call this our push versus pull method. And the most common mistakes we call pushing, okay? So as I go through these, check in with yourself and see, have I done some of these, or am I currently doing any of these? Because if you are, then it's going to backfire, okay? And you're going to be like, oh, I realize now that that is not working for me. It's not serving me in this way, okay? First is demanding that your spouse work on the marriage. Demanding can sound like you need to go to therapy, you need to listen to this podcast episode, you need to talk to me about this, you need to honor your marriage vows, you need to do it for our religious beliefs, you need to whatever, right? and you're wanting them to change and do something different, like you need to leave the affair partner, you need to have this conversation, you need to talk to me about these issues, right? And what happens is if you've already made up your mind about something and someone tells you that you have to do something, are you any more willing to do it? No, it's human nature to dig our heels in and become even more stubborn, right? Who here has experiences with their spouse? I'll be the first to raise my hand and say, I have done every single one of these mistakes and I know the effect that it has, right? Yeah, I see some hands raised. Yep. The second one is manipulating them to try to get them back. You may not realize that you're actually doing this one. Sometimes the manipulation can be just very obvious, like outward, like threats of like, I'll take the kids from you, I'll take you to court, I'll wreck your credit, I'll tell your mom everything you did, right? If you go with the affair partner, then I'll go do whatever I want with whoever I want, right? And we make these threats to try to get them to come back to us. But does it work? No, it never works. Manipulating can also be a lot more subtle. This could be trying to use the kids to kind of get at them, or, you know, even pretending that someone at work is interested in you or someone on social media is interested in you. So they'll get jealous and they'll realize everything that they're going to lose and miss about you, and then they'll want to come back to you. We've done these things. I've done these things. They're not pretty, but we do them sometimes, right? So any forms of manipulating, if we're doing a certain behavior and trying to manipulate our spouse into another behavior from them, then this is manipulation, okay? Even the positive things sometimes of like, I'm going to try to work on myself and meet all their needs so they want to come back is still a form of manipulation. Your spouse will sense it and it won't work. What about the next one here? Raise your hand if you've done this. This one's super, super common. Begging, pleading, and acting out of desperation. Please don't go. Please give me another chance. Please, please, please. I'm begging you. I'll do anything. Over apologizing, taking too much accountability for the situation, taking accountability for everything that your spouse has done wrong and blaming yourself for all of it and kind of just lambasting yourself before your spouse, right? Or begging and just acting out of so much fear and so much desperation. Yeah, some of you guys had said you've done that too. Freezing and doing nothing out of fear is the last one here. Who here has done that? Yeah, I see some hands raised on that one. Sometimes we don't know what to say. We don't know what to do. We're afraid of doing the wrong thing, maybe because we have done the wrong thing in the past and we don't want to make that mistake again. So when the moment comes or our spouse is around, we just clam up or we run away or we give them the silent treatment and we don't know what to do because we're so afraid. We just don't know what to do. So let me know in the chat which of these you feel like you have made. Okay, I'm seeing don't know, no communication, no talk of divorce, not together on anything, living like roommates in separate part of the house. You begged for our relationship and have apologized on my side, but have stopped begging. I've done all and still have been without realizing it. So hopefully this is a good aha moment for you, right? All apart from freezing, I'm done doing any of these. Begging, good realization there. Yeah, exactly. I'm done doing all of these, right? All of the above. And you're not alone. The result of doing these behaviors, these push behaviors, is that they will only push your spouse further away. But I want you to give yourself some grace. I'm going to share with you why we go here. It's normal and it's instinctual and it happens, but it's not the only way to go about solving your relationship. Okay. So what we help our clients do is to process through that fear and that desperation that you can get into that have you do some of those behaviors, right? And pull their spouse to them like a magnet. I'm going to go back real quick to their slide. You guys answer in the chat. When you're in this mode of manipulating them, trying to get them back, demanding, begging, pleading, freezing, who are you really focused on? Who are you really most concerned about? Where's all the attention and the focus going on? Yeah, on myself, desperation, myself. Some of you are saying her. Yeah. Is it really on her? I'm going to challenge you on that. Me, our own feelings. That's right. I'm going to show you why that's not your fault and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But when we are so afraid, what happens is you go into fight, flight, or freeze mode, right? And we tend to focus on ourselves. We want to make sure we are okay, that we're not going to be alone. We don't want to be kicked out of the tribe. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to be hurt. We don't want to be embarrassed. We don't mean talking today. We don't want to be made a fool of, right? And so we tend to focus on ourselves and how we can be made safe. And having our spouse come back to us, we feel like it's going to fix that for us so we can feel safe again. But when we're focused on ourselves, what is that actually communicating to our spouse? And is that going to solve the problem here? Right? So what we do, again, is we help our clients pull their spouse to them like a magnet. When you're in any of those very self-centered, focused on self behaviors, I'm trying to protect myself, I'm trying to make sure I'm safe. It's like you've got the magnet flipped the wrong way and you've got all that tension between you, and those magnets are just repelling each other. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Just that tension. It's so like visceral. You can just feel the invisible tension, but you can feel it, right? So what we help you do is flip the magnet around. So it just is naturally sinks back up, naturally drawn back together. So your spouse naturally wants to be with you. So how do we do that? First, we're going to take the pressure off. So they no longer feel the need to have more space from you. We take the pressure off of you, take the pressure off of them, and take the pressure off the relationship. If your spouse gets any whiff that you have an agenda here, okay, it's gonna send them flying for the hills. So we want to do this in a way that is not about trying to get them back, trying to restore the relationship right now, because it's not going to work. And it's repelling the exact thing that you want. You want them to come back, but you've got that magnet flipped the wrong way. It's never going to happen. So we have to take the pressure off, and we'll show you how to do that. Then we go and we increase some validation and some understanding for our spouse. Remember, we talked about how when we're in the push behaviors, the demanding, manipulating, pleading, begging, acting out of desperation, freezing, all of those are really focused on yourself. So when we start to actually increase understanding towards our spouse, what we're communicating to them is, I hear you. I understand you. And that goes a long way in showing your spouse that you are respecting them. More often than not, when I'm talking to clients, people in masterclasses, I talk to hundreds of people every week about their marriage. Your spouse is very likely saying, I don't feel you respect me. You're not listening to me. You don't understand what I'm really wanting. And you're not giving it to me anyway, right? So I'm not happy here. So I want to go forward with divorce, or, whatever it is that they're saying right now. So as you increase understanding, that is going to communicate respect towards your partner. All right. And Coach Curtis has joined us as well. So he's going to be helping in the chat to answer any of your questions. So make sure you use the chat and he will help you with anything that I happen to miss as I'm doing this live with you guys. Then the next part here, as we help your spouse to hit that pause button, is what we call a pattern interrupt. So right now, you and your wife or you and your husband are in a certain pattern. There's a certain way that you greet each other when you see each other, or you don't greet each other, right? There's a certain expression on your face, a certain expression on their face. There's a certain way you talk about things or you don't talk about things. There's a certain way that you react when you feel triggered, that you get defensive, right? There's a certain way that they react when they get triggered and they get defensive. You're in a certain pattern right now. And you may have been in this pattern for weeks, months, or even years, okay? What we want to do is identify with you, what is that pattern that you're in right now, and how can we interrupt it and do a new pattern, okay? Because we are a product of our habits and our patterns. And if you don't like the results that you're getting right now, then it's time to do some new things in some new ways to get some different results. You guys know if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get what? The same results. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result, right? So I'm here to show you how you can do things in a new way to get a new result. And this is exactly what we help coach our clients on how to do. So I'm going to give you an example here. I'm going to name them Tom and Sandy. So the clients' names have been changed. We'll call them Tom and Sandy. So when Tom came to us, He was saying, Sandy won't even talk to me. She won't even let me in the house right now. I can't hardly even talk to my kids. She wants a divorce. She says I didn't support her emotionally for years and years and years. But Tom, like many of you, is like, I'm going to fight for my marriage. I'm going to make all these positive changes. I'm going to work on myself and become a better husband so she wants to come back to me. So he decided in his mind that the thing he was going to do to demonstrate to Sandy that he loved her, he wasn't going to give up, was to send her a text message every day saying, I love you, Sandy. I'm not giving up on us. I'm here for you. I love you to the moon and back, sending her flowers, these kind of things. When he came to us, he was saying, Sandy doesn't want me to text her. So we said, okay, do you mind showing us some of your conversations? Let's diagnose what's going on here. Let's see what the pattern is. And sure enough, Sandy was saying things like, please stop texting me. I told you it's over. Please just move on. Stop texting me. And then just started giving him the silent treatment. So we asked Tom, as you're texting her, we know that you think you're doing the right thing. You think that you're fighting for your marriage and you're going to win her heart back and you're going to demonstrate your love to her. But she told you to stop texting. So when you keep texting her, what's that really communicating to Sandy? Is it communicating that you are listening to her, understanding her, and respecting her? He's like, no, actually, it's not. I'm like, that's right. So stop texting her. Take the pressure off, understand, and interrupt the pattern. And as he did, she was like, oh, wow, Tom is really respecting my wishes here now. I feel like he's listening. Thank heavens, right? And so what happens when you interrupt the pattern that you're in with your spouse, you increase some understanding, you take the pressure off. All of these, they get your wife or your husband's attention and get them to consider the possibility of staying and being happy with you. So how do we do this, right? I mentioned that it's really not our fault though, when we go into fear. So most of us, we feel so overwhelmed, so unsure, so full of pain and fear that we totally get this wrong when we try to do it on our own and maybe try some other just ineffective methods out there. I want you to know, it is not your fault that you haven't been able to do it on your own. It is not. I'm not saying you don't have accountability for your part, but there is actually a biological reason behind this. And I want you to give yourself some grace here. See, what happens is that during and after a fight, or your spouse leaves the house, or they say, I want a divorce, or they say, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, or you find out that they are having an affair. What happens in any of these situations is that there's a heightened emotional state where your body responds to the rejection and the tension as if it were an actual physical trauma or threat. And your brain pumps out cortisol, epinephrine, and other stress hormones. They literally flood every cell of your body within 7 seconds. Your body and your brain were designed to do this, to protect you from dangerous situations. It served us very well, like generations ago, when we lived on the savannah and we had to worry about like a lion attacking us, right? But right now, even though in this case, there isn't a physical danger, your body doesn't know the difference. And this process of the fight, flight, or freeze mode clouds your thinking and causes you to react out of instinct. Instinct to do what? To protect yourself. And when we're in that mode, we do not make logical decisions. And emotionally, you can't help but get into fear. The blood flow to the higher reasoning part of your brain is almost completely reduced when you're in this state. And most people, when they're facing divorce, when their spouse won't talk to them, when their marriage is on the rocks, are in a constant state of fight, flight, or freeze mode. That's why sometimes you're like, why did I say that? Why did I do that? It doesn't even sound like me. That's like not even who I am. And we look back and we're like, how could I even do that? Well, you're right. It's not who you really are. It's your primal instinctual brain that took over. Okay. But the good news is that you can learn how to get out of that. But being in this state of constant stress, of constant fight, flight, or freeze mode due to this emotional trauma can lead to really intense emotional distress, right? Even physical pain. In fact, I bet you can feel it in your body right now. So let me know in the chat, where do you guys feel it? Does it feel like you've been stabbed in the heart? Like your heart is just being ripped to shreds? Does it feel like a ton of bricks just pressing down on your back? Do you feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? Does it feel like tension or tightness or clenching in your stomach? Do you feel nauseated and sick, like you just can't stomach what's actually happening here? Does it feel like pinching or tightness and tension in your mind, like you just cannot figure this out? You can't sleep at night, you can't focus at work. It seems to just consume all of your time and energy. Let me know where you guys feel it. I feel like a hole in my stomach. My back hurts all the time. Let me know. Stomach hurts deep in the pit of my stomach. Where else do you guys feel it? Can't sleep, constant knock in my stomach. My mind is running wild. Yes, you described everything that I am feeling. Absolutely, 100%. I have to take melatonin to sleep, all of the above. No sleep, no eating. Mind is going nonstop, helplessly helpless. Definitely carrying the weight of the world. Slight depression, can't sleep, concentrate at work is very hard. My heart hurts, right? So you guys can feel this viscerally in your body. All right, this is the biological response. You can't sleep, thoughts are all over the place, right? And this can lead to even more anxiety, depression, and other issues in your life. So if you rely on these instincts that you're feeling right now in your body, that you're seeing evidence of in your life, there is no way that you can expect to get to that higher reasoning part of your mind, that clear-headed manner that's going to help draw them back to you. And that's where most people fail to ever salvage their marriage. And more couples do end up getting divorced. But again, the good news is you do not have to do it alone and risk losing them forever. We've created this scientifically proven 4-step process that takes you from where you are right now, point A. When you guys are talking about your anxiety being hard, your heart breaking, having so much tension in your neck, you can't concentrate on what you need to do, where there's so much distance between you, you can't talk. You're there wanting a divorce, they're pulling away from you. That's where you are, point A, to point B, where you guys said you want to go in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, where you're back together with your spouse. Your spouse is wanting to be with you and wanting to work on the relationship now. And you're crazy in love more than ever before. So you'll learn how to stop doing kind of like what Tom did, where he was unintentionally pushing his spouse further away, right? Unintentionally. Maybe you think you're doing the right things and you have no idea that they're actually backfiring or they're just ineffective. So stop unintentionally pushing them away and learn how to pull your spouse back to you naturally and effortlessly, like that magnet just sinking back up. So that is why it is so important to have guidance from an expert, so you know what will actually work here, and instead of exhausting yourselves with all the things that aren't working right now, and you will know what will not work. I don't know about you guys, but when I have a major problem in my life, I don't want to just guess and run around like a chicken with my head cut off, but I've done that so many times. I want to know what's actually going to work. I want to know what's going to help me get there the fastest, what's going to be the most effective. I want that plan of action. I want guidance from an expert that knows how to help get me there. One of my favorite sayings is you cannot read the label when you're inside the bottle, right? I've got a bottle here. You can't read the label when you're inside the bottle. We are all inside the bottle of our own marriage. We're so close to it, we can't see it for what it is. That is why it takes an expert, someone from the outside who knows how to read the bottle, how to diagnose what's really going on, and prescribe the exact treatment plan to get you to the result that you want. All right. So do you want your marriage assessed by an expert? Let me know in the chat. Say yes. Do you want your marriage assessed by an expert? We're offering completely free marriage assessment where we go in and we read the label on your bottle. We diagnose exactly what's going on for you, and we prescribe you the right treatment plan to get you to the result that you want. So if you want that, put it over in the chat. Let us know. Coach Curtis will connect with you on how to schedule that marriage assessment. Okay. Awesome. I see a bunch of you saying yes over there. So we will give that to you and you can schedule right after the masterclass. We have openings available for the next 2 days, but they do fill up very, very quickly. So just be mindful of that. Oh, there we go. Now, after your marriage is assessed, it's vital that you follow your coach's plan. You have to do the treatment plan, right? You have to follow the prescription so that you can successfully hit all 4 reconciliation markers. Without all 4, your marriage won't be saved. All right, let's dive into it. So here is a client win given with permission, but anonymously. He said, Heather, my wife served me a separation agreement a month ago, and I've been looking it over, making little edits and comments so we can go over it together first. This morning, she tells me she doesn't want me to sign it. She said, let's wait and see what happens. We can always make a new one later on if we have to. She hasn't said she wants back in, but this feels really good. I've actually been doing less, and I thought it was giving up. Thank you and Marc for founding High Thrive and making this information and support available. All right, my friends, you guys are really smart. What milestone did this client just hit with his wife? What is going on here? What is happening, and why do you guys think it happened? Yeah, exactly. Daryl, you nailed it. She hit the pause button. Ding, ding, ding. Yes. That's right. A lot of you are getting it too. Good job. That's right. So a month ago, she wanted separation. And now she's saying, hey, don't sign it. Let's wait. And then she's giving herself an out. Do you see that? Let's see what happens. We can always make a new one on later if we have to, right? She's giving herself an out. That's totally normal. You talk about the hot and the cold. That's totally normal. What we want to do is move that switch back on towards you, right? Again, she hasn't said she wants back in. She's not ready to commit yet. What I love that he says here, I've actually been doing less, and I thought it was giving up. Doing less of what? Less of what wasn't working for him. All the things he was exhausting himself doing that he thought was like fighting for his marriage was actually backfiring. And now that he stopped doing that, he took the pressure off. Now it got his wife's attention, and she's hit the pause button. So we want to get you there too. Now, step 2 is where it gets a little more fun, right? This is where your spouse starts to take some steps towards you. Here's where they start wanting to spend more time with you as you build up some attraction again, that magnet naturally drawn back together. All right. So our goal here is to have them want you and want to spend more time with you, want to have more conversations with you, want to go on dates with you, take steps towards you and actually be the one that's chasing after or pursuing you instead of the other way around. How good would that feel? How good would it feel to be like, you're just going to kind of like relax and your spouse is kind of chasing after you? Feels really good, right? I know I love it when my husband's the one pursuing me instead of me the one chasing desperately after him, right? So let me know in the chat, do you feel like you already have hit this milestone? Step number 2, where your spouse is wanting to spend time with you. Are they inviting you on dates? Are they wanting to have conversations with you? Are they open to talking about things? If not, nope, not yet, not there yet. No milestones yet. Okay, yes and no. Reading your chat there. Nope. It depends on the day. Okay, Caitlin, I hear you. Right, might be some of that hot and cold still. Okay, cool. So if your spouse hasn't reached this milestone yet, it simply means you've missed what it takes to get here. Oftentimes what happens is you kind of lose a spark, right? You let unhealthy patterns and issues get in the way. And that's why they said they needed space from you, or they started to pull back, or started to shut down, or they wanted out. And this is what it really means when they're saying, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. It means they've lost their desire for you and their desire to work on the relationship with you. And this is why desire is actually more powerful than love. You can get that back, and it's easier than you might realize when you do it the right way. So instead of letting your fear and your biological instincts, right, repel their desire for you even more, like the magnets flipped the wrong way, right? The biggest mistake that you can make at this stage is trying to resolve deeper issues when you don't have their desire. If you're trying to find out, well, why did you have the affair? Why aren't you willing to work on things? Why did this happen? I want to work on all these deep issues with you. They're not ready. It's like trying to drag a camel to water, right? You can kick, you can scream, bribe, remind them of their vows, demand that they work on things, remind them of all your happy times together, try to convince them all you want with logic or reason or whatever. But if the camel isn't thirsty, it's not going to drink. So let me know in the chat, what have you already done to try and solve this issue? And why do you think it hasn't worked? Have you tried working on yourself? Have you tried going to therapy? Have you listened to YouTube videos and podcasts, self-help books, all those things? I did every single one of them. First, I tried the therapy. My husband wouldn't go. Who here relates to that? They're like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to be made a problem of, right? I don't want you to try to fix me, right? And then I tried the love dare and tried to just service him to death. And he didn't, I was like, well, it was completely ineffective. Maybe service isn't his love language. So then I tried physical touch. Well, he was so mad at me. He didn't want physical touch and it didn't solve the issues between us. So nothing was connecting. Therapy, testosterone treatments, the gym, meditation, but I keep doing the 4 common mistakes. No communication. I'm in therapy. I'm currently going to therapy. I'm working on me. She does not care what I'm doing. And that's exactly what happens there, Julio, is your spouse either doesn't notice the changes or they notice them and they just don't care, or they notice them and they think it's just a manipulation to try to get them back. So none of those things actually work. You guys agree? So if you and your spouse aren't blissfully in love, then it means that you've missed something along the way. What you are missing is their desire. Their desire will make all the rest unfold exactly as it's meant to. So we literally coach our clients word for word on what to say to your spouse, how to respond to text messages from them, how to invite them to a conversation, right? To reignite that spark of desire again, what to text them, how to have in-person conversations so that your efforts don't keep backfiring and you stop unintentionally pushing your spouse further away. We show them exactly what to do to have their spouse naturally feel attraction for them again. So now that your spouse has hit the pause button, we're going to show you how to flip their emotional switch so they desire to be with you again and they start taking steps towards you. They give, they give some of these indicators that they are wanting and ready to work on the relationship. Okay. So here's a client win, because I think that these help see in real life how this actually works. He says, biggest win yet. After 2 months, and I was doing everything wrong until I started the program and changed my whole outlook in stubborn ways. It was heartbreaking to hear that she was moving into her own townhouse last week, but it simply turned into her missing me and she reached out. We talked here and there, but yesterday she called me out of the blue and we had a great talk. Even better today. And tonight, she dropped more hints than a little that she wants to get back together. So who is chasing after who here? Who is chasing after who? Exactly. Who is pursuing who? Who is calling who out of the blue? Who is missing the other person and reaching out? Who is dropping hints that they want to get back together? That is exactly what happens when your spouse starts to take steps towards you. What he did, and what we want you to do too, is when she said, I'm moving into my own townhouse, he was heartbroken. And that is heartbreaking, right? But did he stay in that mode of, I'm so heartbroken and it's all about me and you must come back to me. I'm going to do all these things to try to stop you from doing that? No, he took the pressure off. We helped him process through those emotions of heartbreak and pain and fear and all those things to help him get to a calm, centered place so that he could take the pressure off. And when he took the pressure off, it turned into what? She started missing him, reaching out to him, talking with him, calling him out of the blue, dropping hints that she wants to get back together. That is how this process works. Then we go into step 3, which is all about deepening the connection. And here is where they will feel safe and close to you, and they will often invent excuses just to be around you. And now is when it is the right time to resolve the deeper issues between you. If trust has been broken, then we're going to restore and heal that trust, to heal the past pain, to heal the trauma that you've both been through, so it does not continue to plague either one of you. You can see each other with fresh eyes, okay? Now is when your relationship is finally strong enough to handle talking about those deeper issues. When you're in, before you've hit milestone 1, milestone 2, they haven't hit the pause button, they're not taking steps towards you. If you try to talk about those things, you are literally self-sabotaging your relationship. It's going to backfire. Why? Because your relationship isn't strong enough yet to handle having those conversations. I often use an analogy of like a medical patient and say that they have a brain tumor and it's going to kill them. It's not going to lead to a good, happy result, right? And they go into the ER and they're in cardiac arrest. Are the surgeons going to go and be like, oh, they have a brain tumor, let's go operate on the brain tumor right now? No, they're going to stabilize the patient, get them out of cardiac arrest first, so that then when the patient is stable enough, then they can go in and do surgery on the brain tumor. Is that making sense? So right now, your relationship is not stable enough for therapy. It is not stable enough to go into these deep issues. If you do, it will backfire. Your relationship is not strong enough to handle it. That is why we always solve problems in the right order. We diagnose what's really going on. We prescribe the right treatment plan and we follow the steps. So now in step 3 is when your relationship is strong enough to handle going into the deeper issues, because they're not pulling away more. They're not moving closer towards divorce or separation or another person. They are willing and wanting to spend time with you and wanting to work on the relationship. We have their willingness to do so. And now it's the appropriate time to heal the relationship and build a healthy, strong foundation for a functional and lasting relationship. Now, this is where many people make a huge mistake, though. Their spouse is wanting to talk to them. They feel like, oh, we have so much respect between us. It feels so much calmer. We've reduced the tension. We both understand each other. We have like this great connection, and it feels like things are so much better than they were. And they get really excited, okay? And I want to make sure you don't make one of these mistakes as well. So let me know in the chat if you've made either one of them, if you've gotten to this stage. If not, just put a pin in it and remember it for when you do get there, okay? They either A, get stuck in this friends stage. Things feel safe, things feel comfortable, you're respectful to each other now, you're able to talk about things. In fact, you can talk about anything and you feel like you're just really great friends, but there's no passion, there's no romance, they'll say, right? And you get stuck in this friends stage. Or B, they push too hard, too soon for commitment, and it backfires. So let me know in the chat if you've done either one of these. Okay. I'll wait to see some of your answers come in. And if you haven't gotten here yet, just remember this for when we do get you there, because we'll guide you through this stage. Yeah, you're not there yet. You've done B. Okay, you pushed too hard for too soon for commitment and it backfired. And that may be why you're experiencing some of that hot and cold and back and forth. Okay. You're worried about A, getting stuck in the friends zone. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to just be like, okay, we're going to co-parent and we're just going to be friends now. And that's going to be what this is, right? So we want to be mindful of that. So what we found is that there are 12 tests that your spouse puts you through before they finally give their heart to you and they let go of the old story or belief that they have about you. And we will help you pass all of them, so they no longer see you in the way that they do right now. This is what we call changing the narrative or the story that they have about you. If you listen to our podcast, you may hear Marc describe this as the impossible problem. The impossible problem is the story that your spouse has about you that can't be overcome. It can't be solved. So therefore, the only solution is I have to leave you. The only solution is I have to be with this other person. The only solution is divorce, because whatever the impossible problem is, right? Here is where we're going to help them to let go of that story or negative belief about you, that impossible problem. What it really is either a defense mechanism, so they don't feel pain. It's like a wall, right? Or they don't want to feel guilt or shame about what they're doing. So this is an excuse or kind of a justification, so they don't have to feel so bad about their own choices. Okay. So what we need to do is show them that it's safe to let that story go now. And that's exactly what we help our clients do in our path process. So we will coach you on how to wipe that slate clean by completely changing their perception about you. No matter how long held their beliefs were about you. We've had clients that held on beliefs for like 20 plus years, right? How many mistakes you made, how many mistakes they made. So you can just both learn from the past and see each other with fresh eyes. How good would it feel to have your spouse see you with fresh eyes, to see you for who you really are, to love and accept you for who you really are? Okay, I'm going to skip this client story, but encourage you to check out our YouTube channel and our podcast. We have so many client stories sharing how they've gone through this process as well. I know for me, I want my husband to love me for who I really am, flaws and all. I want to have that grace and that forgiveness. I want him to see me as my real quirky, very imperfect self and to love me and accept me for who I am. And for me to love and accept him for who he really is. And that's what you want to. Then we go here to step 4, which is commitment. And this is where your spouse will give you their heart fully again. So I want you to imagine how amazing you will feel to know exactly what to do to have your spouse come running after you and begging to be with you. Imagine what a relief it will be to have a step-by-step plan that takes all the guesswork out of this and the mistakes you will suffer if you try to do this alone. No more crying, overanalyzing, ruminating, worrying, stressing, beating yourself up, losing sleep, begging them, and then crying even more. No more of that. Just the sweet, easy feeling of peace, knowing that you have now rekindled the romance between you, and you get to spend the rest of your lives together in security, ease, and passion, just you and them together forever. So let me ask you, my friends, what is it worth to you to get there and to have that? Let me know in the chat on a scale of 1 to 100. How important is saving your marriage to you? How important is it? How committed are you to getting there? 100. 100. Awesome. I see your answers coming in. 100. They're coming in. They're trickling in. Some of you guys are waking up here. On a scale of 1 to 100, how important is saving your marriage to you? 100. My family means everything to me. Thomas, 100. Joanne, 100. Let me go up. They're coming in fast now. Caitlin, 100. Awesome. So in just a moment, I'm going to show you what the next step is that you can take to access our 4-step path coaching so you can get them running back to you, chasing after you, flip that emotional switch so they hit the pause button and they want to be with you. They want to work on the relationship with you. You resolve those deeper issues and they give you their heart fully again. Before I do that though, I want to ask you guys a question. Would you give anything to end your pain? You guys told me even some of your physical pain that you're in right now, let alone the emotional, right? And be back with your love again. Would you give anything to have a new, healthy, and beautiful relationship with them, a functional relationship with them? Of course you would. That's why you're here. So we have spent thousands of hours working with couples, and we've distilled our most powerful methods into the simple 4-step coaching plan that will flip that switch deep inside of them and trigger the most unstoppable desire and have them begging to be back with you again. So within the next week or so from now, your spouse is going to hit the pause button. That's typically the time frame that it takes. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. It varies. But usually within just a few weeks from now, your spouse is going to hit that pause button and you will know what's really going on between you. Within just a few short weeks from now, you'll have our guidance on exactly what to text them, how to have those hard conversations, how to have them want to spend time with you and want to be with you again. You will flip their emotional switch and trigger their desire for you. You will know how to solve problems in order so that your efforts don't keep backfiring. So the next step is to simply fill out this form and schedule your free marriage assessment with us to see if coaching is a good fit. So we are going to put the link over here. I know some of you have already been talking to Coach Curtis and letting him know what your number is so he can connect with you right after the masterclass. So I just put the link over there. It's our Calendly link. You'll see it's very basic. In fact, let me just show you. There we go. So I just put this link over there. All you have to do is fill out this quick form and you can schedule your free marriage assessment with us. You'll see that we only have a few spots open. They do fill up very, very quickly. And so that's the bad news. The good news is that you're here first. Okay, we have about 30 people on today. Tonight, I'm sending this replay out to over 60,000 people on our email list. So if you want to get in on this free marriage assessment to have us assess your marriage, right? We're going to diagnose what's really going on between you. We're going to prescribe the treatment plan that's going to help you to get to the result that you want. We're going to read that label on your bottle so you're no longer guessing. Now you will know exactly what you need to do to get where you want to go. You guys told me where you want to go. You told me that you want your spouse to want to work on the relationship with you, that you want your spouse to take divorce off the table, that you want them to put their wedding rings back on, and how good and complete and whole that would make your family feel, and the level of peace and security that would give you. So it's worth it to you. Then take action before I send it out to everyone else. If you're watching the replay, then make sure you click the link below in the email I just sent you, and you can book your call there as well. If the calendar is completely full, which it may be, then check back in a few days and see if we've opened up some more time, because we are opening up more time early next week. So again, keep checking that. So thank you guys for coming today. Thank you for being willing to work on your relationship, for having an open mind and saying, you know what? I don't know how to solve this on my own. If I keep doing the same things, I'm going to keep getting the same results. And I don't like the results I'm in. I believe that challenges come to all of us, and they come for a reason. They come to teach us something, to help us learn and grow and become better. You don't just have to go through this hell and maybe kind of come out the end of it a more broken version of yourself, more unhappy, more bitter, scarred, whatever. Like, you don't have to do that. You can learn from this experience, and you can choose to empower yourself and learn some skills that you just simply haven't had up until now. And when you do some new things in some new ways, you're going to get some amazingly new results. And you won't just go through these challenges, you will overcome these challenges and grow into a better, stronger, more resilient version of yourself. And you can even look back at this time and be grateful for these challenges, grateful for what they taught you, grateful for the compassion and the grace that it gave you in your own life. So I know with everything in my soul that life is really short and time is precious, and we each get to choose what we do with it. So choose now to live your life with no regret. Choose now and think about how you want to look back at this time at the end of your life. Do you want to look back at it with regret and pain and feel like you were broken and you let life just kind of defeat you and you were a victim to everything and the same painful cycles continued to repeat themselves? Or do you want to look back with peace, knowing that you did everything you could for your marriage when you had the chance? And whether it works out or not, you know that you gave your marriage everything you could, and you learned and grew because of it. And you gained those foundational skills of how to have a healthy relationship. To me, that's worth everything. To know that I look back at my life and know I didn't do it perfect, but I did the very best that I could. And so that's what I invite you to do. I invite you to step into that and be the hero of your own love story right now. Your spouse, they need you. They're still there inside of you. And so it's time to help show them the light, and you can do that. So thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate you, and my heart and my love goes out to you, and I cannot wait to see your marriage thrive. Talk to you guys soon.